All right, it is 2 o'clock, and I'm going to call the April 3rd, 2024 meeting of the Police Records Management System Committee to order. This is a special call meeting, and I don't think we have any remote members of the committee,
Not that
right?
I'm aware of.
Okay. A quorum physically present, but we should do a roll call.
Berlin,
Here.
Blumenthal, Fieldman, Franz.
Here.
Howitt, Arnovich, McPherson.
Here.
Hendrick. Pitts. Sarah. Bennett. Here. Zerwin. Here. We do have a quorum.
Okay. So, what I want to do today, chairman's remarks and public comment and discussion, I think everything's going to kind of be melded into one. We're going to have a discussion. I encourage everyone who's here physically, or those who are watching online, to just, if you want to be acknowledged, just raise your hand so I can call on you and jump in, because I think it's just best if we do it that way. And we kind of combine all these items into one big discussion. I think the meeting will be more productive. So let me just start by, first of all, thanking all of you for being here, the ones who are present, the ones online. Obviously, this is a topic that affects everyone. A little history of the DuPage system. This was a project that started 10 years ago with the idea of combining our computer-aided dispatch and our report management system into one and getting everybody on the same page. It was a huge monumental task. And I know there's been a lot of growing pains over the years, but it's kind of brought us to this point. And one thing you're going to hear me stress over and over again is the value and importance of acting as a group and a consortium. Because we are, as far as I know, we're the first in the country to do something like this. And it's almost what the public expects from all of us, because there is nothing more important than public safety in this county. And all of us have a huge role in that. So everyone, please keep that in mind as we go through this. The contract that we're under is a restatement, and it was approved in June of 22. It's a 5-year contract that goes through June of 27. The intermental the IGA, our intergovernmental agreement, expires April 30th of 2024, but automatically renews for a year for those agencies that haven't given notice by November 1st in the previous year. And to my knowledge, the only one who's given notice was Addison, and that's actually, I think they gave their notice a while back. So that's kind of where we're at right now. Our IGA is expiring. Addison gave their notice back in October of 21. And I know that there's a lot of discussion, there's a lot of questions. We want to try and answer them. And hopefully get a consensus about how this group wants to move forward. Okay? So in terms of the IGA, it is our hope that we can come to some agreement to get a new IGA together in place to carry us through at least until June of 27 when the contract expires. I just want to start with that. Because again, the contract which was approved by this committee, and everyone is represented on the committee. The RMS committee is made up of 12 people, 6 of who are appointed by mayors and managers. So everyone has representation here. And it was approved in June of 22. So I don't know who wants to chime in on our IGA or has questions about it moving forward.
If you don't mind, Bob. So,
Please,
I
Anthony.
know you mentioned public comment, so one of the reasons why we invited mayors, managers, and police chiefs, because we really wanted to get their input as part of this process too. So I wanted to encourage them, this is the best time to do it, to make the comments and let us know your thoughts on the IGA consortium, if you can.
It's really important that we hear from everybody. So we get a better understanding where we're at and where we're going. Chief Sharp.
I'd just like to point out, I have a little bit more thorough knowledge just because I sit on the exec board's Lucas committee. I did excuse me. As was mentioned by the state's attorney, this project was started 10 years ago. There's been a lot of bumps in the road. No one's going to deny that. But there's also been a lot of lessons learned and things implemented to deal with those bumps, get past those bumps. We are now in a situation where it may not be the best system out there. Maybe we should start looking for another system. And we need to do it together. We need to stay together. We can't have ones and twos dropping out of the consortium. The level of service we're providing to our residents has never been as good as it is right now. And the reason we're doing that is because of the consortium. So there have not been to date any significant reports of problems with the system we're on through any of the formal channels of communication. There have been reports of problems with individual parts of the software that have been addressed. If we want to look at a new one, let's do that. Let's do it together. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, Chief. Yeah, Chief Flurry.
Very much time with you. So I've been through an RMS rollout before. It hasn't been through, and it took us about 6 years to work the kinks out of the system we have. So not to say again, like Chief Shar said, that we're in perfection right now, but I think that as he stated, us staying together and choosing a system. I know that some agencies have decided to go over and look at Axon particularly. And I'll tell you, I have a lot of colleagues throughout the country that have also looked at the Axon system, and it's about 2 years away from being ready. It does offer a lot of bells and whistles, but I challenge to see that it's going to be where they need it to be. When some of these departments decide, if they decide to go there, what they're promising all of these RMS companies and the head companies promise to the world. Some are better than others at responding to changes and doing the build outs that are required. But from what in recent calls that I've had other chiefs and deputy chiefs throughout the country that have looked at this system on the Axon end of it, it's not there yet. So I would, and I know that we have put out to the chiefs that they need to stay together and make a decision as a group. I think it's a good idea, but it's I think anybody that wants to walk away from this, assuming that Axon is where you need to be a caution, anybody those build outs from experience, I'll say they take a couple of years to really work out. And that's we work with Tyler Technologies for ours, which is new work, which some departments in the area have used. It's a huge company. It's been in the game for a long time. And even as large as they are, and using the output, the input from police departments, they have large conventions where they often send people to give ideas on how to build their system better. 6 years after it was implemented, there's still things that hadn't been boxed, that hadn't been checked. So this isn't no system that I've seen is cookie cutter, ready to go for everybody. And some of the problems that we probably have here are not uncommon for any system. That's just my input on that.
You know, and let me just say that, you know, it's probably a very prudent idea as we move forward to look at Axon and look at all the other systems that are out there to see, are they as good? Are they better? What do they offer? But from everything I know, I would agree that it takes time if you go to a different system to get it up and running with all the integrations. And we've got, you know, 37 plus agencies in this county. It's a huge undertaking. Not that it can't be done, but again, it's something we should look at. But I don't see any other system being able to be up and running before June of 27. Yeah, Deputy Chief Barbara.
Here's how we're going out to, really just mirror the comments from Chief Shaw and Chief Larry. But one point I want to make also is, we just want to make sure that, you know, we know what our goals are as a county. And I think there's a little misalignment there on what our goals are. And the consortium should be our primary goal here, in order to better serve the residents of DuPage County. And having less information at our fingertips is a disservice to those that serve. We break up the consortium. That is what happens. We have less data to work with because we're not working in silos with different systems. County IT, I don't want to speak for them, but I believe they only have the bandwidth to administer one system. So there's not a scenario here where we break off and have Hexagon system or the Axon system or, you know, New World or whatever other systems are out there. Like there's one system. So going into silos is a step in the wrong direction, in my opinion. But also, as Chief Lurie said, I've also talked to some of my colleagues across the country, and the question about RMS systems and frustrations is a common thread that I've seen. And at the end of the day, when we get engaged in these conversations, you learn that there is no perfect system. So there's just not one system that, like our agency says, it's been great, it's perfect. This is what we use, and I haven't come across that yet. It may exist, but I'm not familiar with it. So there's a lot of talk about Axon, but I don't think Axon today serves the needs of what the county needs. It's maybe in 2 or 3 years it might be the best product, but today it's not. We're taking a step back in functionality. It does have some nice. It does have some new functionality about integrating body camera footage, but also not all agencies have Axon products. So we have to think about that as a group. You know, that's not a benefit to all agencies. So just want to make a couple of those points that I just want to make sure we're also speaking from facts. I've been on the phone for the last 3 months with a lot of agencies. I still am unclear as to what the issues are. Because there's been no formal issues brought forth in various channels that exist. And today the product is working as it's supposed to be. Hexagon is delivered what they're contractually obligated to provide. Have there been problems? Absolutely. I spent a lot of time being frustrated on the phone with Hexagon. Probably not as much as Linda may have over the years, but I just want to point some of those things out. But today, the system that we have, it works. When you're talking all the different points from start to finish, it's working. So thank you for the time. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Anything else? Chief Peterson.
Sure. Chief Peterson with the Fourth District of DuPage. Another important thing, I'm the newest member, I guess, of the DuPage Committee for the Chiefs. But in the time I've been there, I think another very important message out there, the other agencies chose to leave and didn't renew the 3-year IGA. And just let it renew on a 1-year basis and decide to leave later in the future. It's gonna not only impact every agency who remains a member, user costs, but also the taxpayers. I'm glad to continue to pay what's contractual with Hexagon either way, we believe. And in certain other villages may be paying for another system on top of it. I know Anthony McPherson could speak about this on meetings that I've been with. The county IT has also purchased a lot of equipment for this project. So those are items we need to continue to pay for. If there are put in place. Thanks for the time.
Thank you, Chief.
On.
Yeah. I can't tell.
I can't see the-
Euchre.
Chief Euchre, please.
Good afternoon, everybody. I just wanted to kind of ask if there's any agencies out there that have been looking at Axon or any other RMS. What is the driving motivation that has currently not been addressed? Is it overall cost? Is it an integration? So if somebody out here that is seriously considering this, although I would dissuade them, I want to know what the driving force is, because that's something that I think the committee could just address, and we can quell those concerns and then move forward as a consortium. So is there anyone out there that has these serious concerns beyond just the day-to-day operation, costs, integration concerns, or anything else that would speak to that? It would be greatly appreciated.
Member Moranowitz, please.
And I am Madison. I respect everyone's opinion and respect all what you do too. I was an end user when it first came on. I don't have the expertise that they all have behind me. With Axon, we are the ones that gave notice in October of 2021. Based on frustrations that I heard from our former chief, Bill Hayden, 45-year career. I really valued his opinion, and then our records department too. And I believe maybe Julie Tadley, our records director, is on, so you can chime in too, Julie, if you're there. I know from us, it is for me speaking, there's definitely a cost factor. There is going to be integration problems, you're 100% right. But I also have the fiduciary responsibility as a building manager to look at what are we paying for and what are we getting from that service. We have done our due diligence, and yet, like Deputy Chief went on, and you're 100% right. You go to any RMS system across the country and get any opinion you want. I truly think that. Somebody called me on Hexagon, I probably wouldn't give a favorable, or Addison would not give a favorable response. We have gone to, there was a number from Fort Lauderdale, it seemed pretty accurate, right? We went to Lafayette, Indiana, sent people there, and they loved it. They absolutely loved Axon. Said it's a great product. Talked to people from around the country, end users, and said it's great, it's a great system. Can't speak to the IT value of it, but from the end user, how it integrates with their body cameras, and we just went with Axon. I thought that was an added benefit. I know currently we don't have that consortium for body cameras. It would be nice to have two, right? Throughout the county, if everybody was wanted to get a better deal. So I know there were some deficiencies within the records that I heard from our records department, NIBRs and whatnot. We still do a manual entry just from a product standpoint. But Julia, Julia, are you on? But if that speaks to it, from a fiduciary responsibility, it was roughly about $60,000 less per year. I also know we're going to have integration costs that come up. So when I say I know 60,000 would not be accurate, that is, they're going to give you a nice, attractive, I see they have a nice, attractive figure, and then they're going to hit you with, I need some integrations here and there. So, Julie, I saw that your hand was up. I don't want to speak for you, Mr. Chairman, but if you call on.
No. Please, Julia, are you there?
Unmute.
You might be muted.
Chair. If you don't mind,
Please.
while we wait.
Yes.
Just wanted to say a couple of points. Not directly to Miranda, but indirectly to address. Number one, some of the issues that you mentioned, and I'm sure Julie will bring up now, were issues that when I started in 2021 were absolute issues. We worked around the clock to address all outstanding issues with the applications, with Hexagon and how we interact with them. We have increased accountability with them, and we've even increased our support model to better support all of the agencies across the board. So 2021 to 2024, there's been a huge difference in support and the application we provide. Plus, moving to the new application, a lot of the functionality that you guys have seen in Axon is actually available in the new MFR OCR 10 web-based application, which we're also moving to as well. So I wanted just to make that point. That's a general point to all. The second point I want to make is that no matter how cost effective the Axon solution is for you guys right now, you can always get a better solution as a consortium, right? So what you negotiate independently, we negotiate as a 32 strong consortium agreement. We get a much better deal. We can get more functionality, we get a lot of options. So what we can do as a whole is much better than what we can do as individual agencies. I just want to reinforce what the chief said. The chiefs said earlier, we're much stronger as a consortium and serve the residents of Page County in a much better way if we stay within the consortium.
And I agree 1,000,000% with everything you said. And I also said, I'll repeat what I said last time. Axon may not be the best. They truly may not. And to my colleagues that know me, I will speak up pretty openly, and I will tell you where we slip, trip, and fall. And I will tell you if we made a bad decision. And I'll say to everyone, because why would we want to venture into something and say, oh, just out of pride, for lack of a better term here, to say, all right, we made this notification in 2021 and we're all in with Axon. Well, guess what? No, we're not all in. I want to see and learn from, there's going to be hiccups, there's going to be failures, and learn from us. And I may come back and say, hey, guess what? Axon made a really bad decision here, and Axon way overpromised. And you know, they're not the way to go. And guess what, county? I'll come back and say, I don't think that is, if that's the direction they go post 2027, what you talk about. And say, no, this isn't a good system for A, B, and C. That's how I operate.
Right.
Joe, I have audio now.
Okay. Is it Jody? Julie,
This is Julie.
go ahead,
Yes,
please.
so just to confirm what Joe had stated, we did go to Lafayette, Indiana to check out the system. Now, they've been with the RMS product for over 3 years. And when we went 2 years ago, it was functioning and it was NIBRS compliant. So we have done our due diligence with looking into it. Right now, I mean, the customization that they're doing for us, it's been phenomenal. Right now, we're looking at it as a positive view, and so far, everything they've promised, they've come through with.
We haven't had it, and it's been extended, so we'll see. Promise, is it a sales pitch, is it a sell from their other products? Whether it's taser, you know, taser model, their body cameras, they seem to come through on their products that we can see. So from their reputation, that kind of was very appealing to me.
Okay. For France, or Don.
Really good argument why the consortium should stay together. Your candid perspective. If the consortium stays together right now, and you come back in a year, say, I love this product, the consortium has direction. If you try to break that apart now, no one benefits from your lessons learned. positive or negative.
And please know that is not my intent in any way do I.
Oh, we know that. We know that.
I'm saying that your perspective on this is
Sure,
uniquely valuable if the consortium goes together.
great point.
And one thing about NIBRS, any agency that chooses to enter manually at this point is doing exactly that. They're just choosing. So it's certainly functional for all but 5 agencies who have chosen to enter manually.
Number 6.
Up on Anthony and maybe letting of a larger group listening today. Can you just remind us of the timeline for how we're going to implement the, what is it, OCR 10, right?
Sure. So the OCR 10.0 and MFR are the new versions of FCR and MCA. So OCR and OCR. So right now, we've actually started the implementation. We started planning in 2023. We've actually started the implementation activities this year. We are currently working on standing up the test environment so that we can get all agencies involved in the testing of it, a preview of it, so that they can go in and work with the details. The hope is to avoid some of the pitfalls that we had when we originally were live with Hexagon by getting direct input the way we recently had in the past couple of years with some agencies, but the direct involvement, we know that's going to take some time. We also want to give other agencies that are currently on MFR and OCR 10 an opportunity to bang it up a bit, for a lack of test it out, for a lack of a better term, but to test it out on our behalf. It's very challenging to go with a new product. Typically with all software applications, I've been in IT, for those who don't know, I've been in IT for 27 years. But then I've done a lot of big implementations for big organizations. But for all software companies, that they have the same issue. They issue the original version of an application. They know that it's not 100%, it's 95% there. They use the user base to bang it up and identify additional issues. And then they come back with patches. So you've heard of software patches. That's what software patches are all about. So what we are trying to do is avoid that, right? We don't want our agencies to have to go through that, to us to stumble the way we did in the past. So the goal is to take it slowly, give them access to the product, identify those problems, go to Hexagon, have them fix them, and then implement it slowly in 2025. So then we thought that our go live would be close to summer in 2025 if we do it the right way. That said, we are looking at ways to, consolidate the process to see if we can do it faster. I don't strongly recommend that we do that, or if we do it, we have to do it in a very deliberate way so that we don't run into a lot of problems once we go live. So going to an upgrade is not as challenging as implementing a new system, but it is very challenging. It's a new product, people have to learn it. You have to work through integrations and other issues. So right now the timeline is, getting back to your question, what is the timeline? It's 2025 summer go live for the new application, but we are looking at ways to shorten that implementation.
I can briefly speak to where exactly we're at. Try to be helpful. We did kick off in November of last year. There were 2 large preliminary tasks that needed to be accomplished. One of them might be completed last week. The other one, we actually engaged with a lot of agencies to redesign the data sheets, which I know has been a pain point for since well before I got here. The initial review of all of the data sheets is done at this moment, and we're working on development of our first run. This is something that we can do for the systems up, and we can have deployed during the configuration phase. And the last thing we're doing on our side before we stand up that system is we're doing an audit of the system architecture diagram to make sure that we're as nimble and as forward as possible. Because it is based on our earlier implementation.
Just one more point is Hexagon wanted us last year to go live with the OCR 10.0 upgrade and NFR. If we as a county decided we didn't want to do that, we want to slow that down. We wanted other agencies to experience the issues for us, and fix them before we jumped in. So that's what we've been doing. So that's going on now. More agencies have jumped on to those platforms that are doing that right now. So I just want to point that out because there's been some question about what's the delay. That's the reason for the delay. We've asked for that to slow it down. They wanted us to go, already have this done. We wanted as a county, through county IT and the command focus group to slow that down so we don't have any headaches when we switch over those new platforms.
Yeah, and I want to reinforce, so thank you, Deputy Chief Barber, to reinforce. When I say we, a lot of times I say that we, the collective we is actually the command focus group and county IT. It's a team that works together and have worked together very well in the past few years, but it's led by a lot of the police chiefs who give us direction and insight on what we do and how we should do it, and we run into issues to help us work with those issues. Like that is invaluable for any organization and any using any application to have that kind of direct feedback. So, thank you. Chair, one more
Yes,
question.
please, go ahead.
I just want to make and just want to remind everyone that we talk about the consortium very loosely a lot, but I have to remind people that everything that's done with the application, with the support services, with the things that, like NIBUS reporting that we do it at times 32, right? So it's what people don't always realize, it's way more complex than people realize because we are not trying to configure a system for one agency with one specific goal in mind and, needs. It's 32, right? And so that makes it a lot more complex than it would ever be for an individual implementation. So would you give it in individual implementation, you may get more speed because of it, right? Because you don't have to do 31, they deal with 31 other agencies, but you don't get the ability to share data and collaborate the way you do with the R1 consortium.
That's not familiar. That's not familiar at all.
I just want to-
No, thank you for that.
You have a few more hands.
Yeah, so, let me see. Chief Johnson?
Good afternoon, everybody. Andy Johnson, Hanover Park PD. I just want to give just real quick, just kind of give our feedback. Our experience over the last several years with the system, has not been great overall. I will say that the feedback that I get from the line is that the system is not very user-friendly. There's a ton of clicks and additional steps that need to be taken. One particular point of frustration for us also is that, one of the big advantages that this was supposed to bring is a reduction in redundancy for officers writing reports. And so for several years, 5 or 6 years, I budgeted for interfaces so that, Hexagon could interface with our existing systems to reduce that redundancy. And every year we got told, oh, it's coming, give it 6 months, give it 6 months, give it 6 months. And finally this year I gave up and just stopped, budgeting for those interfaces, which I think is a shame. And really in our experience, some of what I'm hearing today, regarding issues and problems being addressed has just frankly not been our experience. So, and additionally, if we were able to see, what the new upgrade is going to offer, I think, that would have been helpful, some time back. But now in the boat that we're in, we're considering Axon. We had them out for a full day demo and, very much understand the consortium concept. And ideally, that's what we want to stay with. But, our perspective is that $100,000 a year we're paying for a subpar system, just is not too exciting. So we want to take a look at alternatives that are out there and haven't made a decision, but that's where we're at.
You want to address it at all? Anything?
So, it's hard for me, so thank you, Chief. So it's hard for me to answer it directly, simply because I don't know what issues that you're referring to, Chief. Maybe if you can share some of that with us indirectly, we can address it. A couple things that I will point out. Number one is that we know the system isn't perfect, and we said that before, that we are still working through issues. And there are specific things from a Hanover Park perspective, we just need it in writing so that we can sit down and work through them. the promise of things being fixed, I think that will be addressed by the new upgrade, and that's probably us saying that to you. But we honestly didn't want to go live with the solution last year. We could have, and maybe Hexagon promised that these things could be fixed with the new application last year. We just didn't agree with it, right? We wanted to do it right. That's probably why it's taking longer to address those things. I think a lot of, again, I don't know your specific issues, I don't know if Don knows them, but a lot of the issues that we've heard of or concerns that we've heard about from agencies will be addressed with the upgrade to the new application.
Yeah, Member France.
Yeah, can I just suggest that, I think there's been a couple agencies that have looked at getting a demo from Exxon. I think we're actually scheduling a demo for this group, for Exxon. But while you're doing that, I think it would make sense from a due diligence standpoint, which is on the spot, but to get a demo of the new release so that you can see what next summer you'll be able to at least envision from Hexagon versus anything else you're comparing. I think that might be a good step to take before anybody jumps to it.
Yeah, thank you, Member Fred, and that's a very valid point. I do want to share with the group that we do have demos scheduled with both Hexagon for the new products in the part of CR10, but we also have a demo set up for Axon for us to take a look at it and compare between the two. We were initially wanted to do that prior to this meeting, but we thought that we didn't want to distract people. We really wanted to focus on the elephant in the room, which is as a consortium, we need to stay together, right? So that's the big thing, and then we can work through the details. I want to reinforce that as a consortium, we can work all of these things out. So as a consortium, we can expedite the upgrade of the current application. As a consortium, we can go out and do a full assessment of all systems out there, Axon, New World, and Hexagon, and others. As a consortium, we can reconfigure the way the solution is and the setup of the consortium. You guys have the power, and we're behind you. We're not the command focus group as well as IT. We're not pushing for one application over the other. We're mainly pushing for the consortium, and we want to support the consortium and all agencies involved. We want to provide you that great support you're looking for and that great product you're looking for. And they say Hexagon great. If it's not, let's look at another product and let's work on that together.
Anybody else in there? Chief Johnson, you've your hand's still up. Did you want to say anything else?
No, that's all. Thanks.
Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate your feedback. Glendale Heights, is it Chief Pappas or?
Yep, this is George.
Please, go ahead.
And I get what Kurt and Anthony are both brought up, and we appreciate everything that they have done. The problem is that they have always been the one that had to push Hexagon to do their stuff. And it's always been that way. And Andy's right. It's a subpar product. The only reason it's functioning is because of Kurt and Anthony. And that's the truth. And consortium is the way to go. You're right. But why do it with a subpar product? And if we're stuck in this thing till 2027, the new product doesn't come out to 2025. It just doesn't make sense to me.
Thank you, Chief. Mike Drugan.
Yeah, real quick question. It relates to the timeline of the IGA. So the way I understand it right now, we have an auto increase that takes us through April of next year of 25. I think it was also mentioned that we would enter into a new IGA to carry us through April of 27, which covers, I think, the Hexagon contract. I guess my question gets down to what happens if a number of agencies desire not to move forward at 25 and as we would desire to move forward, what happens to those of us that desire to stay? Do our costs significantly increase? General question.
Yeah, so, obviously, yeah, it probably would result in an increase in cost, to be determined though, because we'd have fewer users. So there may be some cost adjustment there. There's also money, large amount of money in the equipment replacement fund, which could be used for those costs, to kind of soften that. And, you know, there's, the fact is, in the restatement, which was agreed to and signed back in 2022, there was hardware involved with that as well, which has been paid for. Right? Linda? So, it's unclear what the financial obligations would be, not only for those who stay in, but for those who leave prior to the contract ending in June of 27. That's not the exact answer, but it would create a lot of problems. That's a guarantee. And it, unfortunately, it would divide the consortium, and we'd have some agencies on one system, other agencies on another system. There'd be a lack of communication. It's just not what we are all about in this county. I hope everyone appreciates that. We're the gold standard when it comes to public safety. And that's what we really want to avoid. Obviously Addison vetted Axon before, deciding to go in that direction. There's no reason that we can't do that as a group. And make that informed decision. Is that the direction we want to go? Or somewhere else?
So
That's what we're trying to accomplish with the new IGA.
So prior to the 25 decision to move forward, which Wheaton is obviously, we want to continue with the consortium, but would there be some information or evidence that the consortium looked at another product and determined that that was not the way to go? And then as we move forward, we're going to continue with one or another product?
Well, I mean, we could start that process at any time.
Okay.
And in fact, probably a good idea to start earlier to get as much information as possible.
With the demos, that's basically what we do.
Right.
And.
But there may be-
Live. I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, I was just gonna say, but there may be others out there that we're not considering.
And we hope to go live here within the county over the summer. So if we can expedite that, get that up and running, see the flaws. And have Anthony and his group come on over, or whoever, open door, see it, see what's good, see what's bad, use us internally as your case test. I mean, you would have one right here in the county.
And we agree, we think that actually makes a lot of sense. Before you make any sudden decisions for any of the agencies, we have a test case right now that we can use and
With integrating of all these other systems that they claim they're gonna do, integration will be key, so we'll pay it.
I mean, it's absolutely the direction I believe that we should go. Is, yeah, let's get demos from anyone out there to see what they can do, what their capabilities, functionality are. We can vet it all and decide as a group. Okay, we'll have more information, hopefully from Madison. What's working, what isn't, what's good, what's not. And make an informed decision. No one is married the Hexagon or any other company. I mean, we want obviously what's best, the best product that's out there, that works for everybody. But, again, you know, I'll say it one more time, there's tremendous value. Not just to law enforcement, but for the public in sticking with the consortium and working together and doing this as one. No one else in the country has a group as large as ours. I mean, that's a testament to everyone, that we got this far. And we've got a lot invested in it. Everyone does. So there's a tremendous value in sticking together, whichever direction we decide.
What do you think you have?
Who else?
Dave,
So I concur, Chair, that there's value in the consortium and we can achieve things as a group that are harder to achieve as individuals. And we were working really hard to provide the highest quality records management service at the lowest possible cost with the minimized financial risk to our participants. We've already reviewed and confirmed the expiration date of the current IGA, which already automatically extended to May 1 of 2025, which means we have a 7-month period now before the next opportunity for agencies to indicate they want to opt out. And during that 7-month period, how we act, I think, is very important. We said we're not married to Hexagon. We're not married to Hexagon, but we're under contract with Hexagon. And I think it's imperative that this group approach Hexagon, explain what's happening here to the consortium and why that is happening, and to explore options for termination of that contract prior to its current expiration date, or options for reducing those contract costs. We heard from the manager at Wheaton with concerns about that. We all share those concerns about financial uncertainty, and if agencies leaving the rest of us who are here to pay for those costs. So I think Hexagon should be asked to come to the table. I also think that while we really appreciate the efforts to make sure that the next iteration of the OCR and MFR work, of course, we should look, and I understand why we want to be so careful. But it's interesting that that launch happens right after the termination of the current IGA. Boy, it would be nice to see how that works in operation in the field before, as soon as possible, so that the agencies that are thinking about leaving can actually touch, feel, and see the improvements before we have to make that decision. And to tie all that together, you'll see these in the comments that Downers Grove submitted. As we move forward on a new IGA, we should address these issues head on. See if Hexagon can come to the table and maybe find ways to reduce cost or exit early if that's what we so choose after seeing options and reviewing other systems. But I think we need to create that financial certainty. So the per user cost in this next IGA should have some sort of limit, I think, so that otherwise, if it doesn't, it's a big step. It's a big unknown. So the per user costs charged to agencies and municipalities during the next agreement should not exceed. There should be a hard number there. And if the shared costs go over that, there should be a limit. Either Hexagon should cut us a break on that, I think, or any of the other agencies participating in the system should step up and pay for that. Because otherwise, without those protections, I think there's an unanticipated incentive to maybe consider leaving, and that works against what we're trying to do. We're trying to keep this consortium together. And so those are the general comments. I think we should explore with Hexagon, change in expiration date or change in how those costs work. We should create financial certainty by putting a limit on the per municipality or per agency cost during the next IGA. And it would be nice to see how that new iteration of Hexagon works. Maybe we could get that going soon enough so that we can do an apples to apples comparison. And if it works as well as they're expecting it to, then there'll be less incentive. So those were all in Downers Grove's comments that were submitted.
Thank you, Member Fieldman.
Maybe a quick
Yes,
comment.
member France.
Okay, thanks for those comments. Just maybe think that if there's agencies that are seriously contemplating a move over the next 6, 7 months, I think it would be beneficial. Something I kind of wish we would have done with Addison is ask for them to come before this group. Or at least give us a letter saying, these are the issues. This is what needs to be addressed for us to stay within the IGA and the consortium. I think that'll go a long way for us to give folks that really do want to be responsive, both the county IT and our partners, police agency and et cetera, to address these issues and see if we can resolve them. And got a short window to do so. If we don't know what the issues are, we're really guessing.
Jason.
Member France, great point on that, and that's where in that new IGA or whatever we want to call it at this point, right, iteration, we had language specifically to that, because I thought that was consensus of all of us. I agree that give us the opportunity to review it, to work with it, and obviously if it doesn't, it doesn't, but we would like that opportunity, and hopefully a majority of the time we can resolve those problems. So yeah, I fully agree with that, and I believe myself and the state attorney's office was very supportive and included that language, so fully agree.
I'm sorry, can I make one point?
Member France, please.
Just what I wanted.
Members there.
Dr. Stroh's thoughts. Should this committee ask our IT staff to put together a revised schedule for implementing the OCR, so that we can take a look at that? I think that's a very valid point, in giving all members a chance to see this without jeopardizing the rollout schedule. We don't want to be too quick, but is there a happy medium there? We can get this out and implemented sooner so people can make their assessments.
Like, I'm comfortable doing that, and I'm sure it is well, but I think an alternate approach to rushing it or trying to accelerate the process is once we have this test environment set up, and I work with Deputy Chief Barbara and many of the police agencies are engaged right now with work groups that we set up. As soon as we have this environment set up, that means we have many inclusive opinions on the system. Same way that some like
Yes, please. Member Field.
When is the
So our plan is to do a MFR OCR demo and invite to participate. Aware of it and ready to roll and then say go. We're going to say go. Second thing that we're going to do is look at starting a formal RFP soon. Because I think based on all the feedback that we've heard today and over the past couple of weeks, it's warranted for us to do our due diligence, right? To go out, see what's out there, to do a full assessment, but that process takes time. It won't be a quick process. So start now, pull it together, and by spring of next year, we should have some answers.
Member Scalera.
Yes,
Your hand raised?
yes, thank you, Chairman. The Village of Bloomingdale is committed to the consortium. Although we've had some issues, we haven't had significant issues with the system. I do agree with the comments made by Downers Grove as well as my colleague from Glen Ellen in that we would be interested in exploring any alternatives to the current system, whether they might be beneficial to the group. But Bloomingdale is committed to the consortium, and we feel that it is beneficial for members to continue in that regard. Thank you.
Member France.
Sorry,
No?
one more question. Going back to Johnson's, point. And again, not to put you on the sheet, on the spot sheet, I might have my facts mixed up too, but I have heard some concerns about interfaces, similar to what you mentioned today. And I guess, I think there's some, interfaces that, make sense for the whole consortium and some that don't, because we're talking about different counties. I think Campbell Park certainly falls in that category. So if there's an issue with the interface, outside of the county, that needs to be identified too, and maybe there's a solution, but it might be a more complicated solution. So those are the types of issues that we need time to dig into and figure out problem solve, and are not quite as simplistic as what it might be led to believe.
Member Senate.
One reason it's very important to stay in the consortium I found is, I just got a phone call yesterday. She was, she lost a copy of her report, lost a copy of her ticket. I was able to log in and say, oh, well, you know what? This happened in Oak Terrace, you need to contact them. I'm able to help the public that way. I wouldn't be able to do that if we were on their own system.
Thank you. Anybody else? Want to say anything? How's the time? It's important to get as much feedback. Yeah, done. Oh, there's a hand up. I'm sorry. Chief McLean.
Chief McLean from Elmhurst. I just wanted to say that, for Elmhurst, this really seems about more a question of sticking with the consortium at this moment in time or not. And I agree, the consortium is the most important part of this. Whether we explore different programs, explore different records management systems, I think that's better done together than separately. So, we support sticking with the consortium as well, especially when looking back at the inception of the Integraph and Hexagon project. We had to build that from the ground up, and it kind of sounds like if an agency leaves, they're basically going to be in that same position of building something from the ground up again. So it doesn't really seem to make a lot of sense to put ourselves in that exact same position again. We can do something better together.
Thank you, Chief. Yes, Deputy Chief Barber.
Thank you. I did want to make one comment. I got to talk with a lot of admins over the last few months, and there is one thing I did want to clear up, because there is some misconception. I've had some agencies express frustrations. They said county IT, the frustrated with the decisions and the movement from county IT. And since Anthony has come into the fold, there's a lot more, there's collaboration that didn't exist before Anthony arrived. And all county IT looks for is direction. So I can't think of one instance where county IT told the agencies how something's going to be. So there's a bit of a misconception that county IT's driving the bus. Is Don and I talk almost every day, it feels like. I call Don at home way too much. But Don is asking, and I just want to be clear that they are asking us, what do you want us to do? And that wasn't always there. And that was one of the biggest problems we had at the initial kickoff of this project was on the RMS side of the house, is we were not giving county IT direction, and we were forcing one of their employees to make decisions, making it tough on them. So that's been sorted out now, and just there's a misconception out there that they're dictating how the product is going to be, and that's not the case. I don't want to speak for county IT, so please feel free to disagree if the assessment's off, but they are asking us, what do you want us to do? And that's why we have the user focus group, the command focus group, and they come to the command focus group and say, what do you want us to do? And that's been a very effective, means of getting things done. It's very effective. All the agencies have an opportunity to give input. We as the command focus group made up of chiefs, say yes or no, ask some questions, and then we present it to county IT and say, can you implement this? And they always do that. So thank you.
Anybody else? Any comments? So, I think in terms of direction, what we're hearing is everyone wants a demo sooner than later from Hexagon and OCR 10. All right. Also, to start looking at any other options that are out there. And then to bring Hexagon to the table and try and clear up the financial uncertainty. Because I agree, I think everyone wants to know where they stand. I think that's important. So,
Mr. Chairman?
yes,
if I may.
please.
Would it be beneficial, based off the feedback and commentary we received from everybody, is for us to maybe draft new IGA with these comments or anything along that lines that clarify all this? We can put that RFP language in, we can put the opportunity in, all that to give some more certainty to everybody, based off this. And maybe we re-ratify it with that end date of June 27th now, but we look at other options. As opposed to with what we have, but I hear Member Feldman as well about the uncertainty. It'd be great to clarify and specify a few things. We do that, I think that might be great. Yeah, some maximums, things like that. Maybe we draft it with everything in mind. And then that way we can move forward. If that's what the will is, at least, because then myself and Lisa can work on a few things together. That's more where we're at. Is there consensus on that? That's.
Yeah. Anybody? Yes.
Just the concern I have is, we're relying on the current IGA to roll over to next year, talking about this one being signed next year. The concern right now is what happens between now and November, you can opt out. If we wait for the new IGA, that's the problem that I see. So I agree with what you're saying. The timing is the problem.
We can talk
about now.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
The new IGA we would get that
Yeah.
now. We would.
Yeah, we would like to work on that now. We could supersede what currently is in effect. Yeah. No, yeah, so no, that's based on everybody's concern. We'd probably like to supersede it and get it more clear. No problem. Unless I misspoke, as that.
Is there?
Yeah.
Is there anyone either in the room or online that objects to that process? We'll try and come up with a new IGA, taking into account everything that was said today. And try and address all of these issues. In the effort to keep the consortium together, but to allow us to move in a different direction if that's what everyone decides. But hearing anything, so I'm gonna take that as a consensus. Right? Okay. Yeah, any old business? Any new business? We just need a motion for
So moved.
adjournment then. All right, got a motion for adjournment, second. Meeting will be adjourned. I want to thank everyone. Yes, hold on,
I'm sorry.
hold it.
Yeah, I apologize.
Anthony.
There are two items we didn't discuss.
Oh.
Hang on. We got two quick items.
I wasn't sure.
Yeah, so
Two quick items before we wrap up.
they won't take long at all. So the new funding model execution, I think we're okay with that one. We will address it as part of the new revision of the new IGA. But the second one was the PRMS Teams channel. So I want Don to.
Oh.
Yeah, please.
I just briefly
Sorry.
wanted to bring that up. I know on the police agency side, we've had PRMS News, Monday.com flowing for quite some time. But I realized the mayors, managers, and the oversight committee didn't necessarily have a place where we could store information. All of you on this call and all of your executive counterparts should have gotten an invite to a Teams channel. Any documentation that I put up, anything that might be useful to you guys is going to be there. If you haven't gotten an invite, put it in that ticket, send me an email. I think it's going to be a useful repository so that we don't have to track down this information.
Or rely on you.
Or relying.
you can go directly to the team channel for information.
Thank you, Dan. Anything else?
That's it.
Okay, all right,
Now I'll move.
No.
all right. Okay, we got a motion and a second. We stand adjourned.